Hello everyone! Welcome back to the channel. This is Jersey and today we are back on Angelmom's Island. And we are gonna be doing a little bit of design work. We're not building, we're just gonna be tweaking, designing and upgrading some areas in this museum. So as I was touring the island, Angelmom, this section, this area of the island was the one that she was not the most happy. And one of the things that she mentioned was it wasn't lush enough, like the museums that I built for the channel, for in other areas. So she wanted something like that, but that still fit the theme of her island. So the first thing that we did is, after she asked my opinions, we started working together. We went over some ideas, and the first thing that we changed was the stairs. For my taste, I figured that we were having way too much brick. We're having the brick stair with the brick flooring, so we wanted to break that up and make the entrance more standing now. So that's something that I like to do in every museum build that I do. The second thing to do is we're gonna take off these trees. These trees, they're not elegant enough, right? When I think of museum, I think about elegant. I think about something, that people come visit. It's supposed to be very elegant, very epic, and very well neat and all of that. So that's something that we want to concentrate on. So I asked her permission and she loved the idea. So we went ahead and took that off. And what we're gonna try to do is, instead of having those trees next to the building, what we're gonna do, we're gonna put trees in the back of the museum where she has the terrace area. So one of the other things that you're gonna notice is we're gonna go back and forth, right? Because every time we do a change, we're gonna go back and we're gonna see how everything is looking. So the other part that I was thinking, and maybe what we need to do, is we need to add some statues. We need to add lights. We need to add more something to start making this area, making more of the structure. So we're gonna test some of the things out. We're gonna test marble, we're gonna test cement, we're gonna keep the brick. We're gonna see what Angelmom's like, and that's the most important part. And that's one of the things that I love when I come to the members islands and start working with them. It's because I want to know their taste. I want to see what they like, what they don't like, and I think that's so much fun to do. So we did some testing. We left some statues in the back, we put some in the front, and as we were doing this, she was really liking the front. She was liking the statues that we had in the front. So I thought that was really neat that she made those decisions, and that's what we're gonna do. So the next part is we're gonna try to make this a little more elegant, right? So one of the things is the little lily pea seeds bush, we needed to move them. They were blocking the statues, right? So we're gonna put it a little diagonal now. So, and that's another great thing. We're gonna start putting a little things offset, so we have a little more depth, a little more to the side, a little more to decorate with. And as we continue to do that, finally she decided, yeah, we're not gonna keep the statues back here. We're just gonna make this a really nice staircase. And here is when we started deciding, okay, we want to try some trees. We want to try to see what else we can do on the top of the area. So as we were thinking and talking and see what we're gonna do, she went ahead and started planting trees. We're gonna skip a couple of the time and we're gonna make them grow so we can start seeing the difference. The other thing on the staircase is we're gonna try to match it for what we did on the front. So we're using the copper. Copper looks really great in this theme that she has. So after we saw the trees that they grow way too tall, more taller than we wanted, we went ahead and took that out. We don't like how tall they look. It just looked kind of off. So we went ahead and took them off, and then we went ahead and planted some pines. And at the same time, the pines did not do the trick that we were wanting. It just didn't look just right. Maybe they were still looking too high. So the next thing, again, what we try to do is, let's go ahead and plant jack around the trees, but again, we're gonna bury those down. And by bringing them down a little more depth, they made them feel a little shorter. It does make kind of like a little canopy in the seating area back here. And I think that, and then it gave this little look in the back of the museum when you look at it from the very front, and it just hit the right spot that we were both very happy with that design. So the next thing we're gonna work on is just fixing a little bit of the pathing, right? We want to make all this be a little more to have a little more symmetry, right? A little bit more of that touch, a little more of design. So what we're doing is we're working with the cement, right? We're gonna attach that to the stairs. It's gonna make this going on. We're gonna make the same thing, a little path over here, again attaching to that, and we're gonna leave some of the brick because we want to have a little design. We have a little pattern because we want to keep the same feel that she had of this museum that matches the island so well. We just want to raise the elegance level just a little bit. Of course, we're gonna add some of the new lights. These new light curtains are so nice. They work so great. It brings so much elegance to areas that it just worked out so good once we brought it back here. Okay, so the other thing is we changed some of the fences. Instead of having the cement fence, we're gonna use the iron fence with a hedge combination. Basically, we just took the normal cement, we put the iron, just because the iron, it just feels, it gives it more elegance, you know. And all this, every single change has been discussed with Angelmom. Nothing has been done unless Angelmom approve, and I'm so happy about that, because it just feels great to work with Angelmom. It's so good to work with members and to see what they like, what they don't like, what ideas they like and don't like, you know. Not everything works, not everything is great, you know. I have some ideas and they may not work out, but I love that they're honest and they tell me exactly if they like it, if they don't like it, and we just keep moving on. So we had this idea about maybe bring some flags to kind of, because some museum, you know, they got the flag poles and stuff like that, but even though we tried it a couple times, it never felt like it was right, like it just belonged in this particular museum. So at the end, we ended up taking those off. We're not gonna use them. So the other thing is, after we were talking and analyzing this bill, we decided that we have way too many stairs. It was too wide. Let's just make it a little bit smaller, so that way it's not the same width as the museum. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna make then the entrance a little bit more epic, right? We're gonna make it feel a little more solid. It's gonna have more stuff, and we're gonna move some of the stuff around in this area just to make it a little bit more elegant. And I think now, as we did this, now the entrance feels a little more epic. So now we're gonna add a little more extra decorations. We're gonna add some of the planters that we need, maybe a little more carpet over here. We're gonna have more hibiscus, and all of this, as we keep trying and playing with everything starts feeling much better. So the other thing is, we decided, you know what, let's take this lily piece bush out, right? The tall one. It's not gonna work. It's just not fitting just right. So the other thing is, we wanna do a little bit of framework, right? Some museums, you have this little cement area that people can sit, right? It's also framing the cement, framing the fountain area. So I think just by elevating this right over here, it gave it that little extra touch, that extra feel of, now we have kind of like a fake seating area, but it just feels so right. At the same time, it gave you that frame, that extra just a little more elevation in the front of the museum that makes it feel just right. Okay, so here we are, we're trying more of the flags. We're trying to see if we can make this work, but there was something about it. It doesn't look bad. When you look at it, it doesn't look bad, but it did not give really the feel that we are looking for this museum. So what we ended up doing is, where we had the flags, we're gonna try to put some lights to see how this feels, and slowly things were feeling better, right? We're getting closer, we're doing more of the final touches. The museum is being elevated, it's feeling much better. We like the jacaranda tree. It does feel more like a canopy area. They feel better. We like the lights in the back to give you a little more of that elegance in the background. We're gonna add, again, we're gonna finish and closing this off with the fence. Once again, we're adding the iron fence over here. It gives you that same height to the hedges, so it just makes it feel a little bit better. I feel everything a little more connected, and it just feel complete. Plus, it's matching the rest of the museum, that in many ways is very important. Okay, so as we're gonna continue to do this and try to figure this thing out, one of the other things that we're gonna do is we need to work on the fountains on the side of the building. They were just a little bit off in some little areas. So after we talked and we decided we're gonna go ahead and move those a little more to the side, towards the front. We had to do a little framework in the top of the building, but once we do that, it really started putting things into perspective. But when we noticed that is when we wanted to add a little bit more of the small fountains into the design, incorporate this small fountain into the building, you know, and we were trying to do something a little more clever. So we were trying to decide if we wanted this, but we decided we didn't want to cover the water. We didn't want to cover, we're going to put it a little more to the corner, just right there. We can still keep the waterfall tier fountain happening, and we're going to add this. But here is the area. Once we added this, it just felt like this little fountain that she made that I love, that is so great, was just a little bit off. So we're gonna move everything just by one towards the left, and to make it feel like everything's centered, we're gonna lift this here just 1 square higher. And now once that's done, then the frame of that fountain feels just great. So once we did that, once we fixed that in one side, we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Just like everything, right? When you work with symmetry, if you're doing symmetry, once you do one side, you just basically gotta duplicate the other side, and it works out just great. So once we did that, and Angel Mom is finishing and working on the other side, we're gonna tweak a little bit more of the front. Again, I decided that we're gonna move these little lights, we're gonna move them out of the way, we're gonna put it center once again, and we're gonna add a little bit more greenery in this area. We finished putting the cement, and we just keep adding this design pattern, right? We just want everything to flow, we want everything to feel just great, and the lights are gonna be just a little bit elevated, and I think this feels just great. It gives a little more space, there is not too close to the building, and I just feel like it's slowly coming together and it's matching the island. And that was the most important part, right? We didn't want to do something that was not gonna match the island. It needed to match the island. So over here, I noticed that we were a little bit off, so we went ahead and fixed that. We added the small lily-pilly bushes, so once they grow, they look really good. We're fixing this framework over here too in the front, adding the other one that we need, and then slowly and slowly, it was so good hearing Angel Mom being so happy how this design is evolving, how she's enjoying it, how it's just coming out, and she's becoming even happier. And just by doing some little fixes, you know, we didn't do much. The structure and the design of the museum is still there. This is just basically moving items around, decorating, maybe adding a little bit extra pathing with the pathing, because the structure, the design, the leveling, everything stayed the same. The only thing that we did was just moving things around and adding items into this museum. Okay, so the other thing that we wanted to do is still felt a little bit plain in this museum courtyard, right? After talking with her, now that we did the museum, it felt just a little plain, right? So what we decided is we're gonna make a little pattern going around the walkway, so we have a little bit extra, something extra to look at, but still keeping, like always, everything the same pattern, the same tiles that she's been using, but we're gonna make a little bit of pattern right over here. So once we fix that, then we're gonna add some extra greenery, and once we did that extra greenery, we're gonna fix the small fountain in the middle. This fountain is a little bit inspiration from one of the other fountains that I've done. So what we did, we tweaked it just a little bit to match the one that we are doing in Shelly's Island. And once we did that, everything just flew, everything just looks so much better, and it just worked out. And this is right here, we're trying to decide if we wanted to keep the green. We don't want to keep the green, so we decided that we didn't want to keep the green. We're gonna go ahead and just make the path just a little smaller, just that way it matches just the stairway, the cement and the cement to the stair. We're gonna bring the brick back up, and now we're just doing these final touches. Once we added this hibiscus, it really just elevated this little courtyard of the museum that goes in front of the museum. And guys, everything just flew, everything just matched. So now right here, we're just doing small details. Again, we're adding the stone lamps, you know, to bring a little more light. You know, when it got dark, this section really got dark, so now we're getting this extra warm with the stone lamps. So now we were doing some testing to see how we were gonna, how high or how low or which section we wanted to do. So once we fix this, and we're doing this right now, we're figuring out the height where we want the height of the fountains to be once again. And once Angel Mom decided if she want this high or this low, we went ahead and put it, and that started doing the final touches. And then look so far, start looking at the museum, look how beautiful everything is looking already. Everything is just working, everything is just flowing, everything is just working really, really well. And it's just amazing because we didn't do any changes, we didn't do any big layout changes. Her vision of the museum stayed. It was just the decorating. But after we finished and being able to get to this point and having a conversation with Angel Mom, she was so happy, and that makes me happy, you know. And it's just, it was such a pleasure to work with Angel Mom, to just get to know her more and more once again, and to do something that she wasn't too happy with, just by doing a little tweaking and elevated her island to the next level. But guys, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to hit a like, subscribe if you wanna see more videos, and we'll see you next time. Alright guys, see you later. Bye.